Certainty of death? Small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And welcome to another episode of Rankin. This is going to be a fun one today. We're talking about horror movies that we think should get a legacy sequel in honor of Exorcist Believer that's out at the moment. But we've got a great one here. Over here, we've got Kerry. Kerry, how's it going?
Going great, thanks.
And we've also, in that same screen, we've also got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
It's going great. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I feel like a lot of pitches are gonna happen, something like that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Also here we've got Eric. Eric, how's it going?
Hey, it's nice to be here. It's my first time, I think, in Take 3 production, so I'm happy to be welcome here. When I heard the idea, I first said yes, and then I thought about it, and maybe I don't want to watch more legacy sequels. but then I started researching, and then I came up, there's plenty of good legacy sequel ideas that I'm sure will be heard today.
And last but not least, we got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, going good. Back in the swing of things. Just got back from New Zealand, so yeah. Sorry I didn't visit you, Malcolm, but you lived too far away. No points for guessing what Chad will bring up. The shirts are going to go by.
Oh, we're both wearing Jaw shirts.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of rules I did throw in the chat just because this is one of those tricky ones, but with legacy sequels, there has to be a good amount of time between since the first one for it to really be one. So I kind of said like it can't have been released in the last 10 years, so no, Talk to Me wouldn't count as a legacy sequel. Also, you don't have to pick the first movie in the franchise. You can do what Halloween did, like go what's up, Halloween 2, skip all everything else and do the sequel from there. So, but most will have fun. Like, those are the sort of. But Kerry, we're going to go to you first. What is the first one you're going to sort of pitch as the sequel?
Yeah.
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with one that has had a lot of sequels. I'm kind of ambivalent about whether you would forget the other sequels or not, but I think we deserve a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The last one we've been left with was the remake, I believe, which I think was fairly disappointing to everyone. I think if we could get one last Freddy performance out of Robert Englund, I think there could actually be a really great Nightmare on Elm Street movie and kind of at least continue or leave off the series on a high note instead of the low note that it kind of currently is at.
But Chad, what do you say about Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, honestly, I think, even though sadly, we don't have Wes Craven back, but if we get someone like kind of like a Radio Silence or somebody like that to give their version or vision of a Nightmare on Elm Street, I actually do think that could be a really cool idea, especially because it feels like the strongest installments in the franchise are when you have Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp, and I feel like if you have them back, it'll be like 1, 3, New Nightmare, and then this new one that could be really, really good, and make it scary again. Don't give us like too much like campy Freddy or anything like that, although it can be a little silly. But yeah, make it really scary like New Nightmare was, and I think it could be really good. That's a really good choice.
But Eric, what do you say about Nightmare on Elm Street?
So I'm in a bit of a trouble with this voting system because I have we're talking about a legacy sequel to the first one, I might disagree with it, but I do want to see a legacy sequel from this franchise, but from a movie later down on the timeline. So I don't know if I want to vote against it because it's a good pitch. I kind of want want to vote against it because I want my pitch on. I don't want too many nightmare movies on the timeline, but I don't want to be a dick on my first
But no,
participation here.
what's your what movie? Because I'm kind of ambivalent about which movie. It's so if you want to like throw.
I have like sorry, I have like 3 different nightmare pitches for different
wow.
movies to go. The one that mostly relates to your pitch will be Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors, mostly because that's my second favorite movie. I like what they do with Heather Langenkamp character. Even if she dies, that's my only issue with it. She dies. Not that it's an issue with the movie, but it's an issue with having a legacy sequel and she is not coming back. But I do want to see Patricia Arquette character coming back. What's her name? Kristen, I think is her name.
Mhm.
And the guy that has super strength, I want to see back. And Joey, the guy that was mute, I want to see back. Mostly because I really hated what Dreamchild did with them.
Mhm.
Like they killed them, all of them, pretty quickly. And also, I think it's the best use of Robert Englund as it's the best mix of scary Freddy and jokey Freddy, like Freddy that tells jokes. So I will like more that because it keeps that movie in the timeline, that it doesn't erase Dream Warriors, which is
I think we
second
could
best
be
one.
like on the same page here, where we want a legacy sequel of like a Nightmare on Elm Street, but we can keep some of like the lore and things like that from certain movies, like whoever's like helming it. And
Yeah,
keep
I'd
some
even
of
be
the-
down to put like Dream Warriors as like the movie that Malcolm is gonna actually list on the list.
I would like. I saw your ranking with the Oscar scores, and I saw Malcolm trying to put Return of the King instead of the Fellowship. But if you're willing to bend the rules a little bit for my pitch, is okay. I will go yes for that. But if you really like your first movie legacy sequel, I would agree with that as well.
No, I'm kind of sold on Dream Warriors. I think that's really cool.
And also, just to add one more thing, like that type of dynamic with especially Dream Warriors that uses a kids group in danger, like a sort of a Losers Club in it or Stranger Things right now, will be more relevant for a new like generation of fans of the franchise. Like Freddy as that type of villain that hunts more kids, it's more impactful than just a couple kids. Like in the first one, even if I really like the first one, but the only character that would make sense to bring back is Nancy. But I won't add up to this one because I do want to bring Heather Langenkamp back, but in a different way in another of my pitches. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Gotcha.
So just for clarification, so Kerry, you're going to sort of alternate it to Dream Warriors?
Yeah.
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 So I just want to be sure about that, just so I know I put on the banners when I make it. But Richie, what do you say about a legacy sequel to Dream Warriors?
Yeah, I was on board with any with the original pitch and Dream Warriors. So yeah, I'd say yes. It was it was on my list. Yeah, I think it's about time to get one, and also to sort of kind of maybe make people forget about the remake as well. I think the franchise does need Robert Englund. Jackie Earle Haley did as good a job as he could, but he's just not ready. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. So yeah, I'll say yeah.
This is not one that I thought of. I did have one once again. I also had one in the Nightmare realm. Might still bring mine up later because even though mine is a Nightmare thing, it's technically Nightmare adjacent. Just with the way this movie is constructed, you might have guessed where I'm going with that, but I'll happily still say yes to Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors because I do think like that is the best one. I do think that a legacy sequel from that point could be interesting to see. And I think if anyone is to do it, I think Radio Silence with what they did with Scream in there, I think they're probably the best ones that could really do a good version of a Wes Craven sort of story. So yeah, with that, Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors is going to make the list. Chad, we go to you for your first nomination.
So yeah, I actually thought that was kind of interesting to where Carrie had like kind of a foundation of a thing, and Eric was kind of adding to it a little bit, and we were like, let's actually write this thing, guys, and stuff like that. But I don't have like a full like pitch for this, or really even that big of an idea of what I want to do with it. But I was thinking it could be really cool because of the movies that came after this one to get a legacy sequel to. I'll say one movie, but it's really two: Alien and Aliens. So I'll say legacy sequel to Aliens because that was the last one that I think was really phenomenal. After that, the third movie starts off, spoiler alerts, with Newt basically dead. Like she's just dead at the very beginning of the movie. And I feel like there's some defenders of that movie out there, but I feel like most people who have that like emotional attachment to Aliens and Newt and the relationship between Newt and Ripley, they're pissed off at the beginning of Alien 3. So I think having a third movie to make it basically like a trilogy, where you can probably, I would imagine how I was thinking about it, you would skip time a little bit and you would have Newt be older, not necessarily like an adult, but maybe like an older teenager, or she could be, just in her like early 20s or something like that, and she's like learning how to, do the science stuff, but then Ripley's still doing it. And I don't know like if it would be a better idea to have a lot of aliens or just, bring it back to just one. But maybe it's just like a really smart one, and like it just could be a really cool kind of like how I'll say, I'm not going to do spoilers here, but Saw 10 was kind of like a stripped down, like going back in time kind of thing. This one could be kind of like that, where we go back to the roots of what made the first Alien great, but have that building relationship with Ripley and Newt. I think could be really cool. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Aliens.
Eric, what do you say about Aliens?
Yeah, as soon as you said Aliens, it's the way, like I figured, let's redo the beginning of Alien 3 because that's
Right.
even if I do like overall Alien 3, I wouldn't be opposed to erasing to start a new timeline from Aliens because yeah, it's the best one according to some people. I wouldn't disagree with that, even if I like Alien better, mostly because of more horror. But I like the idea of having a new. I don't know who will play her because I think the actress is already retired. But anyone can play it in any because of the way the Alien franchise works. Like most of the sequels have like big timeline jumps, so it could be like any age except that Sigourney Weaver doesn't look like she looked in '86, so it wouldn't make sense to she froze but she aged. So it would make sense to. But I do agree with Aliens as a legacy sequel. It will be a good way to bring the Alien back to basic, like the Alien franchise as well.
Richie, what do you say about legacy sequel to Aliens?
Yeah, as soon as you pitched it as like a sequel to Aliens, I assumed you're going the Alien 3 route, which is the kind of the way it should be. Yeah, like and the fact that Newt was just dead is just a cop out, and the fact that like I think kind of at least plugging the holes of Alien 3 is good, because even David Fincher likes to forget he made Alien 3, so. Just and I think the franchise in general need to kind of a bit of a kind of fresh, or even if you go back to you're going back to what worked, but it does need it to be revitalized in a way because the last few movies in the franchise haven't been great. Alien Covenant sucks, so I think it'd be good to sort of bring Scotty Weaver back in the fold, and and explain explain the new situation. So yeah, I'd say yes.
Yes. So this might be a slight hot take. I mean, I do like Aliens, but it's one of those ones like I've always considered Aliens to be more of an action movie than a horror movie. So I probably would have gone for the first Alien, but because I do consider Aliens to be more action than horror, I'm going to say no to Aliens. Huey, what do you say about Aliens?
I say yes. Chad knows how much I hate the beginning of Alien 3 and how it undoes everything. I agree with you to an extent, Malcolm, that like Aliens is definitely more of an action movie than a horror movie. But I think it's got enough horror elements in there. And it is like generally kind of a horror franchise. So
The aliens are creepy, and you could probably make the third
I would
Aliens
love yeah.
scary. You can make that a
Yeah.
horror movie too.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, you could do what they did with in Avatar. Just have this a random human girl playing, but he gets Sigourney Weaver to voice her.
Oh yeah.
But if that Aliens is going to make the list, Eric, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I kind of want to keep going my Nightmare just to get them out of the way now that it's already on the conversation. But the way I can see bringing Heather Langenkamp back is as a new Nightmare Legacy sequel. Like the whole meta shtick is already overdone, as the characters in Scream will say. But it will be a fun way to in the universe, inside the universe of Nightmare on Elm Street, like make a tribute to Wes Craven that way, in a sense. Like you could even do it in a way to prelude the Dream Warriors Legacy sequel, because the headline, if you remember New Nightmare, like the scary Freddy that's in the real world, it tries to come out because there's no new Nightmare on Elm Street movies, so it will make sense that after the remake, that presence is coming back, and Heather Langenkamp wants to pitch the idea for the Dream Warriors sequel to the studios as a way to keep the whole universe safe. And now that her son is older in this pitch of the movie, in a way and also like it could still be a horror movie, but in a way it also talk about continuing the franchise without the presence of the creator, that is Wes Craven, who is also a big part of the movie as a character in New Nightmare. Like he's the one that realizes that's happening. He writes the script, and the script is already like the stuff that happened in New Nightmare. So it could be a fun way. Also, I like more than her performance as Nancy. I like more Heather Langenkamp in New Nightmare. So it could be a fun way to do that first. New Nightmare. I don't know what would it be called because I'm terrible at titles, but a New Nightmare Legacy sequel, and then in universe, Dream Warriors is coming out, and then you you show Dream Warriors Legacy sequel. It would be if a bit complicated. It could be a lot of fun if the right person made it. Like I don't know who's doing meta stuff right now, apart from Radio Silence, where they going out.
Just call it the newest Nightmare.
Yeah, something like that. But somebody
just do what they did with Scream and just call it New Nightmare. I mean,
New Nightmare.
It's the end thing to do these days.
Yeah.
What do you say about a legacy to New Nightmare?
Yeah, I had a very similar pitch in my head, so get out of my head, and yes.
I mean, yeah, my business is the one I was referring to that I was going to bring up myself. Because it's famous. I like all the original sort of timeline of Nightmare Elm Street, so I do really like the original timeline. And I think New Nightmare is a good way to do a legacy sequel to it, because if you do it like 30 years on from there and they have it set in that timeline, you can have them make fun of the fact they've tried doing all these countless reboots and remakes of Nightmare. It's just, and for whatever reason, there just hasn't worked because it's all been cursed. And they decided to try to do it one last time. And but yeah, I think this could be a really interesting thing to go, way to go. And yeah, but Kerry, what do you say about New Nightmare?
Yeah, I'm pretty sold on this. Just like Eric's specific pitch for it, like that sounds amazing to me.
And Chad, what do you say about New Nightmare?
I mean, I definitely do like the pitch, but I wouldn't personally want to overload the list with like a bunch of Nightmare movies.
And I have one more.
One or the other, but Eric Scott, he's doing it all night with the Nightmares. But no, I mean it's cool if because I really do like the pitch. I would love to see both of those movies, but I would have given it a no, just because I don't want to see so many of them on the list. I want to see different stuff, but yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, I like depending on what the other pitch he's going to make is. Like I would argue that New Nightmares essentially is different from the main timeline because
it
it
is.
is.
No, it is for sure.
So just that's what. Yeah. Otherwise, I probably would have said no to it myself once we got one. But yeah. But New Nightmare is going to make the list anyway. And Mitchie, what is your first nomination?
I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of slash stuff. Yeah, I'm going to bring up one that I think is sort of like doesn't get talked about a lot, that just in the grand scheme of things. That they tried to reboot it with a TV show. I think there might be a legacy sequel coming out, but like I'm going to pitch one anyway, but because I'm not sure. But I'm going to bring out. I know what you did last summer. I think the movies are pretty they're entertaining in their own right, but I think maybe. I mean, the problem is that if you go back and watch them, they do sort of take themselves a little bit too seriously sometimes, and where they should maybe go on the sort of maybe the camp side of things. So like I did hear him that are gonna make another one and potentially and with the cast coming back, and sort of it'd be cool to sort of lean in on the fact that like, well, what's this what's this one going to be called? Like, I'll never forget what you did last time. Or I mean, you can't, or something like that. Like there was literally a directed DVD sequel called I'll always know what you did last summer, which is terrible. So like, but yeah, so I just like it'd just be kind of cool to sort of revisit these characters again, and also like I think just kind of to kind of not that we don't want to like overload this list just like meta stuff, but I think it kind of there is a place for like horror comedy, and I could see like someone like I know he's sort of doing Scream 7, but like Christopher Landon or something doing something like that, or so yeah, but yeah, and I just think I think it'd be kind of cool. So I'm going to shoot shot for I know what you did last summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I just quickly looked it up because I actually hadn't do anything about it. Like sequel to this at all, but yeah, like there is one that's apparently in development. I mean, nothing's been done on it yet, obviously due to the strike, really. But yeah, I do think it's interesting. I did actually. It also was one that I had on my list as well. It's one that I was going to bring up. But yeah, so it could be an interesting way to get like, because I mean, like people like Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. and all that, not really doing anything else at the moment. So it'd be a good way to get them sort of back into acting and that. So it's a yes for me. Back through. What do you say about I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah, it's not one I had thought about, but I think it would be a really cool concept to do a legacy sequel to this one. Because I think you can kind of update it for, today and have some really cool, like new characters, new concepts. And yeah, there are still actors who are, not quite as active in acting today, but they're around and maybe would be willing to do a legacy sequel. So yeah, I think that's a great one.
Chad, what do you say about I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I mean, I'm personally not that into them, but it's just because I really need to rewatch them. I mean, they were written by Kevin Williamson, so they're definitely on my radar, and it's something that I do need to return to. But I think, it was a good point to say that, like, at least bringing back Jennifer Love Hewitt could be a really cool thing, and then you just have like a whole new cast of younger people, like teens or whatever, that are going through it, and it could be really cool to see that. So yeah, I'll give it a slight yes. Yeah, sure.
And Eric, what do you say about I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yeah, I consider. I know what you did last summer, but mostly I didn't pick it because it's already coming out supposedly. Like it has a letterbox profile already and all of that. So I thought, maybe it is coming out. But out of the Scream Light 90s type of Scream movies that came after Scream. Like it's one of I did like it, but it's one of my lesser like I wouldn't. But I wouldn't say no because I do want to see Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. back and all of that. And also, it could be fun. Like Legacy sequels, apart from being released like many years after the original, erasing timelines if they have to, because nobody needs to remember. I always know what you did last summer, the third one, and all of that. Also, that they could use like the children of the characters from the first movie and all of that.
Oh yeah.
And so it could be a fun way to not only like bring back the characters that are already older, so it wouldn't make sense if they are in high school, but there's their children as well. I don't remember any. That's the only two characters that come back, right? Because like spoilers, Sarah Michelle Gellar dies,
Yeah,
and I
she
think Johnny
definitely
Galecki dies, and I don't know. I haven't seen the second one in a while, so I don't know. I don't remember who makes it. But out of that, but you can definitely focus on the children of the main characters and like a Scream 2022 type of idea. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, even if it's already on the list because everybody said yes. So
Yeah.
I don't mind saying yes as well.
Yeah. But that I know it did last summer. We'll make the list. So I'm a bit of the country because I was going to bring up another horror comedy, but I might save that for later just because we don't just go heavy into the horror comedy. But I'm going to bring up one that I think could be interesting, and I'm going to bring up a sequel to The Omen, and specifically Omen 3, Damien the Omen 3, whichever order those two are. But look, and no, in all honesty, I haven't seen the Omen 3 yet, but I think I have seen the first one. I think this could be interesting because you could get Sam, like, for those that don't know, Sam Neill played Damien in The Omen 3, so you could get Sam Neill back as an older Damien and have it being like the storyline about his own son or whatever they want to do, and like some kind of crazy stuff that happens there. And it could be interesting. I don't know about how people feel about this, but I just thought I'd bring up something that's not a horror comedy because I think this could be an interesting sort of take. Because I mean, when it comes to devil possession things, like it seems to be the in thing at the moment. So I think a legacy sequel to The Omen is not going to be too out of place. But Kerry, what do you say about The Omen 3 Damien?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. The Omen is the original is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I haven't actually seen any of the sequels though, including The Omen 3. So it's a little hard for me to say like, right, I don't know like what happens in that movie, but I do think like the concept, especially I know the concept of the Antichrist is kind of like laid out in the first movie. I think it could be actually like a great legacy sequel to have today, especially, someone who's like maybe a charismatic leader, but is actually like the child of the devil or the Antichrist or whatever. So I'll say yes to this one because I really love the first one. And I would love to see a great Omen legacy sequel, even if it's from the third one. That probably would make the most sense, especially since the third one has Sam Neill in it.
Yeah, and actually, just to correct myself, the third one is actually is not that Damien. The third one's actually Omen 3: The Final Conflict.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, that's the one I'm looking to the sequel from. But yeah, but Chad, what do you say about sequel to Omen 3: The Final Conflict?
Yeah, like Carrie, I also haven't seen any of the Omen sequels. I do think the Omen's a great movie, but I honestly think it's one of those things to where like the Omen just feels like it probably never should have had sequels, and I imagine that's the same for a lot of horror movies. To be honest, like they're just like a crazy thing happens and it's resolved. I don't know. I'm personally not feeling like I'm not vibing with the choice. And none of the pitches have really sold me on that. So I'll give it a slight no, but it'll be interesting if everyone else thinks it could be cool because maybe I don't know.
Eric, what do you think about a legacy sequel to The Omen 3: The Final Conflict?
So yeah, as most people here, I haven't seen that movie, so I wouldn't know if the quality of it is enough to keep it going. I just checked out that I didn't know Sam Neill plays the character in that. So apparently, with the Omen being based in so many like prophecies about the apocalypse and all of that, being really ingrained in like Christian culture in United States, like it's a whole conspiracy theory that many religious people have. Like, oh, there's somebody that's going to unite all the countries, and it's going to bring up the end of the world and all of that. And apparently, he dies in the third movie. Apparently,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't know what to do with like Damien Thorne is the reason you came back to these movies. And if you start with the Omen 3, like he's supposed to be the you might if you bring another child as the new demon child, son of the Antichrist, it wouldn't make sense because that's the whole deal with the first movie. So I would also say no. And also mainly for personal reasons, I don't want to see movies that get religious people in America all riled up. Like, oh yeah, this is happening already. So I kind of don't want to see it. But I understand, like, you're not from here. I'm not from America already, but I live very close to it, so I know how the whole deal comes. Sorry for anyone, any religious people watching this. If it doesn't apply to you, don't feel offended. But yeah, I would say no as well.
I mean, look, to be fair, there happens everywhere. There's everywhere in every country. There's always some religious people going, "Oh no,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be showing these kind of movies or these books." That's definitely not just America. But Richie, what you have said about the Omen?
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the original Omen 3. I don't know. I'm sort of with like depends with it. Like, I don't know if that Omen needed sequels to begin with. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we're getting a plethora of like possession sort of exorcism movies at the moment too. So by the time it came out, would probably be that trend be kind of watered down. Are you going to have Anne Dowd in this as well? Because apparently that's all she does now is be in these like devil. In these, like she was in Hereditary, and now she was an Exorcist believer. Is she going to be is she going to be part of like a cult as well in your movie?
Yeah, if she wants to be.
Okay. But yeah, I would give it a slight no too. But look, it's I think your picture's good though.
I mean, I knew there was going to be a risk. That as I said, I haven't seen the third one either. I just thought I'd go for a shot and bring out something in this franchise, see what happens. But after a bit of research, apparently there is a prequel in the works with Full Nike and of all people. But apparently, filming is completed and is expected a 2023 release window. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I would have known about it by now, and it's October. So
Yeah, it's called the first Omen. But anyway, Kerry, what is your next nomination?
I'm gonna go with Friday the 13th, and I think I'm gonna specifically go with part 4 here, the one with Corey Feldman. Is it called? I'm like blanking on the names now. It's the last.
Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
Tommy Jarvis, but what's the movie called?
I think it's the last chapter.
The final chapter is with the one of Corey Feldman. Yeah. Yes.
The final chapter. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. It's kind of similar to Nightmare. The last movie we have in this franchise is a subpar, in my opinion, remake. And it's so present in the popular culture. I don't know. I think we deserve maybe a new Friday the 13th movie. I'm specifically choosing part 4 because I don't know. It kind of like Tommy Jarvis's character arc kind of like goes off the rails, in 5 and 6. I'd love to see kind of a direct sequel to part 4 where maybe he turns bad or something. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm kind of throwing it out there. It's kind of hinted at the end of part 4 that he's going to be the next Jason, and then that kind of the opposite actually happens in 6, like 5 and 6. So I would just love to see kind of a direct sequel to Part 4, which I think is actually like one of the better Friday the 13th movies.
But Chad, what do you say about Friday the 13th Part 4?
Yeah, it's one of those things to where, like, I mean, I don't love the franchise just in general, but like, it's weird that we haven't gotten another Friday the 13th yet. And Carrie picking the specific movie with Tommy Jarvis and Corey Feldman. I mean, Corey Feldman could return, like, he's older now, so he could return like as that character and be bad, and like that would be kind of a cool twist. Or if we would just want to do it like Tommy Jarvis still as a young kid or something like that, we could do it like where he's like deformed or something like that. But like that's kind of like where they were going with spoilers for Halloween 4, Jamie Lloyd from the franchise. So I could totally see that being a really cool like twist, because he kind of like pretends to be Jason, and then it would be really cool to see him like do some sort of turn or something like that. That does sound kind of interesting. Or if they don't decide to do that, that was like one of the most interesting characters of the franchise. So yeah, I think that's the perfect one to do a legacy sequel for. So I would say yeah.
Eric, what do you say about Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter?
I might do my shit again because I also have a Friday 13, and in a very similar ballpark as well. I do want to bring Tommy Jarvis back, but like in a sense, if they had made the jump to make Tommy the new bad guy in the fifth one that they were hinted at, but then it turns out it was a paramedic that his son died and all of that. I hated that one. I didn't like fifth. But the one I wanted to bring up was I want to start with Jason Lives, mostly because Frankenstein monster Jason, zombie Jason is best Jason, and in a sense I wouldn't be opposed to Tommy becoming the bad guy, but since the also Halloween Ends did it, and it was I didn't hate Halloween Ends as much people, but I didn't like it either. So I don't think, especially with Friday 13, I wouldn't say subtlety or character arcs is their main goal, like the Friday 13. I would like more to see Tommy back and his girlfriend from that movie. What's her name? Megan, because I really like her character as well. They could like be guarding. Well, it's called Forest Green. Jason Lives, Crystal Lake, guarding the lake monster Jason, and this time Jason coming back like the way they do it in 7 or 8, but without having the caveat of telekinetic teenager or the Jason taking Manhattan where he comes back because of an electrical cord. I will more than final chapter. I would like more Jason Lives, so I would say no if it is final chapter. And also Corey Feldman is older. He's older. But I think he's too like for what I've heard and what I read before. Like I did wanted to know what Corey Feldman is doing, and apparently he has a couple of accusations on his part. So maybe don't bring him. Like he had a terrible time in the industry. Like as a kid, he I don't want to talk about this in this show, but he did have a terrible time. But also he has a couple of accusations that came up recently. So James in Kill Count said, like he is being both a victim and an abuser. So I wouldn't want to bring Corey Feldman if that's the case. So for my selfish reason, I would say final chapter no. Jason Lives, yes.
I'd be okay with the update.
Yeah, I'd be down for changing it to Jason Lives.
There's precedent for doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, Richie.
So
that's the only one the Friday that I would.
Are you officially changing it to Jason Lives?
Yeah. Let's change it to Jason Lives. I like that.
Then it's I
just want to be sure, just so I don't end up heading into two. Yeah, I mean, for me, I haven't seen any of the. I've seen some of these Friday the 13th movies. I don't know which ones I've seen, which ones I haven't. I probably still. I probably would have said no. Is Jason Lives Part 5 or 6?
6.
6. So yeah, I'm just gonna say no, but it's gonna make the list anyway. And we go over to Chad.
Okay, so I was thinking about if I wanted to do this, but I think it could be really interesting, and it's weird because it is from a movie that I do think is perfect, that I think maybe a lot of people, including myself at one time, might have said that maybe this doesn't need a sequel because it's so great. But I have reasoning, and I'm picking one of my favorite movies, Shaun of the Dead. The reason I'm picking this one is because, well, Carrie got me a book, and I read the book, and apparently Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, I don't know if it was probably semi-jokingly, but also like they write together all the time, with the Cornetto trilogy and all that. They were kicking around an idea of, wait, it's been 10. What am I thinking about? I was like, does it count? Oh yeah, it counts. You said 10 years.
It's been almost 20.
It has been. Exactly. So they were kicking around an idea of a sequel to Shaun of the Dead, and it would be called From Dusk Till Shaun. Yeah, so it's literally from like the filmmaker and the writer and the main actor like kicking around this idea, but they haven't seriously I don't think written a script or anything like that. So it is kind of a wish fulfillment that I think could be really cool, because they've said, Edgar, Simon, and Nick all said we're gonna work together again at some point. But when and what, we don't know. But they have been kicking around that idea, and it could be really cool to see, kind of like in I guess the Toy Story 4 vein, a fourth one from the trilogy be added on, where you get to see, of course, Ed is still in the shed, but you get to see Sean and Liz return to experience. You still have Yvonne around and stuff like that, so you can still see, in the same vein or similar vein as going from Night of the Living Dead to Dawn of the Dead, or Dawn of the Dead to Day of the Dead. You can see how people, because you already know that they now have talk shows with zombies and just the crazy world. You get to see them existing in that world, and I think that could be really cool. No matter where they go, there's some sort of new thing they're going. Maybe they go to a mall or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea, but I could totally see it if people are leave Shaun of the Dead alone. But I think since the filmmakers have kicked around this idea, that it's not heresy to be make a sequel to Shaun of the Dead, because they thought it could be a fun idea. So and I would just want to see all those people return and hang out together and make another movie now that they're all established and stuff like that. So Shaun of the Dead.
But Eric, what do you say about Shaun of the Dead getting a legacy sequel?
Well, actually, and I'm not gonna change that. Yeah. On the one hand, I would hate to make the Cornetto trilogy a Cornetto quadrilogy, but on the other hand, if Edgar and Simon Pegg will be up for it, I'm not one to oppose their wishes. I also, because I love the title that they came up with. The more I thought about it, the more you make your pitch, Chad, I'm going to say yes, because it could be a lot of fun to play up the idea that the zombies have been living with the living for a long time. I wouldn't know what the conflict will be yet. Maybe it will make a fun pitch to make a new brand of zombie, or maybe some other humans. No, it had to be zombies because it's a zombie movie, but with the good zombies and the bad zombies, new zombie. The zombies had kids, something like that. The kids are horrible. So the zombie kids, they could play. There's a lot of ways you can go with Shaun of the Dead legacy sequel, and if they want to do it, I wouldn't mind seeing it, because Shaun of the Dead is my favorite one out of 3 Cornetto trilogy. Even if I do love Hot Fuzz as well, but what I would say yes to Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
And the cool thing, real quick, is just because Edgar hasn't done a sequel yet, so it'd be really cool to see how he handles that. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if Rich can hear us, but if he'll let us know how he feels about Shaun of the Dead later, so I'm guessing.
And strike it from the he says now.
But yeah, I just did some research, because I hadn't really heard anything about this. But when I looked it up, it's it actually the sequel that they were planning wasn't actually going to be about zombies. It was called From Dusk Till Dawn because it was going to be a riff on vampires instead, using some of that same cast. So, and personally, I don't know if I don't think we need a zombie sequel to Shaun of the Dead. Just because I think the story itself is really wrapped up in this one movie. And yeah, so I'm going to say no. Kerry, what do you say about Shaun of the Dead?
Um, I'm gonna say yes here. I had actually I thought about putting this on my list, but only hadn't because I thought I had seen something that I'm sure I'm now that I'm mixing up with another movie, but like basically like that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost didn't want to make a sequel to Shaun of the Dead. But I think even if it was like I think I agree with Chad's pitch of like a zombie movie sequel. I think it could be really fun. But honestly, even if it was a vampire movie and it was more like a spiritual sequel, like truly making it part of the Cornetto like quadrilogy where the movies aren't really related, they just have like a lot of the same cast members and the same director. I mean, I'd be down with that too.
It wouldn't be the weirdest thing in the world to have them be like, zombies now this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said it on the Shaun of the Dead commentary track. I think that's where this whole thing originated, as I talking about on the commentary track. Because yeah, like after looking it up, there definitely is articles about it. So, but Eric, you said yes, right?
Yes, said
Yep.
yes.
So even without Richie's vote, it's still Shaun of the Dead still going to make the list regardless. And yeah, we move over to you. What movie are you going to bring up here?
I don't know if I want to keep going with the franchise stuff because I do have one more in me, but also want to give it a rest to talk about some other. No. Now that it's already on the air, now that we already brought up Jason, it will be fun to come up with a Freddy versus Jason like a sequel. Obviously, because there's a big one like already kind of sort of written with the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash Williams. Like that's it. The obvious pitch to make with Freddy versus Jason, and that's the only way I will be up for a Freddy versus Jason like a sequel. If you also bring up Ash Williams to battle in his old age, really old. Well, Freddy doesn't age, but Freddy and Jason and all of that, like it could be fun as long as it's not as misogynistic as the original comic. Like I just saw the kill count, but you could have most of it. I pick it mostly because I do want to see. I want to see Jason destroying mall people in a shop smart smart with Ash having to handle that at the same time that Freddy is trying to mess up, and it could be a fun way to how do you say to honor the three franchises and bring back one more time like Ash Williams and Bruce Campbell as a character, and it could be a fun way to also like Freddy could mock him because he's old and he's fake bravado and all of that stuff as well. Robert Englund could still play him like in a minimal role, not that physical, obviously, because he's that old. You can also bring back, obviously, King Hodder couldn't play Jason as the physical monster, but do bring him back for the movie because I heard for Freddy vs. Jason, they didn't bring him up, even if it was the obvious choice to bring King Hodder, but they didn't. So he could have a small role. Who else is maybe even reference the Ash vs. the Evil Dead franchise, and also because the what's the name of that Jason Goes to Hell also has a Necronomicon and all of that. There's it could be a really fun. It wouldn't be the smartest movie in the world, but it could be a lot of fun to bring all of them back for one last rodeo, as they say. And I think I've read of something like Bruce Campbell does want to make that movie. I've heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Freddy vs. Jason as much as ever. Yeah, I do think it's fun, but just because this is an idea that apparently has been written and is kind of in the works, And it's one of those ones like, well, I do like those characters. I personally would like maybe Freddy versus Jason versus Jigsaw. I want to see Jigsaw formulate a trap that will trap Freddy as like and force them to try and mutilate themselves to escape.
I mean, it would be
But
really hard to make Freddy put Freddy in a trap. Would be hard because he lives in a dream. Like the Saw franchise is too stuck to the real world to make sense with the Freddy versus Jason. So that's what I pick.
well,
Ash.
yeah, no, I get that. I was
Yeah.
trying. No, I get that. But yeah, I mean, it's but it's also one of those ones where I think like I actually think Robert England has actually come out saying that like he doesn't really want to play Freddy, or it's either he can't play Freddy again or he just doesn't want to. But I mean, I mean, honestly, if they do another one, they bring Freddy back. Like, I would be open for um maybe bringing Jackie Earl Haley as the person who sort of plays Freddy, and then you could still get Robert as a cameo in that movie if you wanted to.
Yeah, maybe
But
now that I think about it, maybe it could be like an animated movie, like a R-rated animated movie.
Ooh.
Could be even more fun, easier
Yeah.
for the actors as well. You can go crazy with the amount of kills you can do. It also made you could have a smaller budget, so it will make more sense to bring back the characters and voice only. Like
yeah,
even the Robert Englund, it will be easier for him. The same for Bruce Campbell. I think it could be even more fun now as an animated movie. But the 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 origin of the pitch is Freddy vs. Jason is the like a sequel. Yeah, that's the one that should have. Yeah. But
yeah,
any way you can make it, it's fine.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those ones like for me, it's still going to be a no for me,
Yeah.
just because I mean it's been talked about for ages that it's the way I see it, it's basically in production, even though it hasn't been come out. But see what everyone else thinks. Kerry, what do you say about Freddy versus Jason Legacy sequel?
I love this idea. I know they haven't. They actually, I think they tried to make the original Freddy versus Jason, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I love if they could actually pull it off. I think Eric has a great idea with it being an animated form. You're not kind of as restricted to the characters or to the actors' ages at this point. That would be phenomenal. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna say no to like us like Ash Williams as a character in anything. So it's a yes for me.
And Chad, what do you say about Freddy versus Jason Legacy sequel?
Groovy. That's what I have to say. This has been like an idea that like people have just really wanted for a long time, and I think they've done it in like comics and stuff like that. I think an animated movie could be cool, but like I'd much prefer the live action version, just because like Freddy versus Jason was live action, so I'd love to see that return. I don't know about Robert England and wanting to return or anything like that. I think Bruce Campbell's always down to play Ash just whenever. I mean, shit. To be honest, he's not doing anything. You could have Sam Raimi direct it, so you could really have a lot of fun with it, and he would crush it. To be honest, I think to make it like an Evil Dead style movie, but would have Freddy and Jason there, and just have the versus. I think that could be really cool, and if it's well written and directed, I just think it would really really be fun. So even though I've said like I don't want another Nightmare, this is different because it is a combo movie, and people have been wanting this for so long. If you can make it work, I think it would be incredible. And even if it's not like the most intelligent movie, like Eric said, it would at least be fun, because even Freddy vs. Jason is kind of dumb, but people some people really like it and really like to watch it from like a fun standpoint. Even the end of that movie left it off perfectly for them to return, like with Freddy winking and all that stuff. So And Ash is still around. I think I haven't seen all of the TV show, but I think he's still around. So yeah, that would be really fun, especially throwing Deadites in there. Could be really cool. Yes.
And yeah, JP, I mean, I get that Jigsaw like doesn't fit. I just think it'll be fun to seeing how this. But I just think it'll be a fun idea to see how a villain who's more situated in reality will deal with these supernatural type creatures. I just think it'll be an interesting dynamic, even though if like Jigsaw technically doesn't fit. I just think it'll be interesting. But
I do want him to say, you know, live or die, and then Freddy's like, "Get me out of this trap, bitch."
well, that's the thing. Like the whole Jigsaw doing the trap thing. It doesn't have to be in the real world. Like he could be dreaming, and Freddy tries to and go into his dreams, and like he just traps him in his dreams, and like so. But yeah. Richie is here. He's just he's getting a new puppy, so he has said he's going to be in and out. So but they will sort of circle back around to Richie when he does reappear. But for now, I'm going to move on. Just because it's the way my mind actually went when I was doing this list. It's my mind's kind of always gone to horror comedies, so I'm just going to continue down that train now. And I'm gonna, and this is another one where the creators have definitely said that they're really interested in doing a sequel, because I know there's a real sequel to this one they've been talking about doing that I know Austin really wants to happen. But I'm talking about What We Do in the Shadows. And yeah, this is another one which probably in hindsight doesn't really need a sequel, but it's one that I think you could have a really interesting concept and
Disappeared.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
but yeah, oh yeah, we'll circle back around to you in a minute, Richie. But yeah,
So cute.
Yeah.
It looks like Scooby Doo. Sorry, Malcolm.
But yeah, so I think What We Do in the Shadows could make a very interesting sequel. I know there's been one that's sort of been in the rumor mill for a while there, with like the reels and that, but yeah, this is one that I think could be really interesting and could maybe, like I know a lot of people would not really have like the movies of late, but Kiri, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, I love this idea. It actually wasn't on my list because of the TV show, but I think the TV show actually, I think the next season, the 6th season, is I think going to be its last season. And I think a great bookend on the franchise, or maybe just continuation of it, would be to have another movie as a sequel to the original movie. And we can see where the original movie's characters are now, maybe get some cameos, or, you know, see more interaction between the original movie characters and the TV show characters. But it's one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite TV shows currently on TV. I love the idea. I would love more What We Do in the Shadows. You give me all the What We Do in the Shadows content you want, I'll take it.
But Chad, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, when I was making my list, I actually did toy with this idea, and I had the same reservations of, well, there's a TV show now, so do we need this kind of a deal? But honestly, like, you know, the characters from the first one are really, really fun. So I could actually see it going either way, to where you incorporate it with the canon from like the TV show and just mix it all together, and just, you know, like Carrie said, you can have cameos from the show if you want, or you can just do a straight sequel from the first movie and just forget about the TV show as far as the movies are concerned. I could see it going either way, and I think either could be a really cool idea to see Taika return back to that out of the MCU and whatever solo other things he's doing. I think it could be really cool to see him return and do a great sequel to What We Do in the Shadows that made him big in the first place. So yeah, definitely. Especially if I could see more Jermaine Clement.
Yeah.
So I just closed my door, so my dog was running in and out. But Eric, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, I need to see the series still. I just got it's in Hulu, right? In the
Yeah, it's on
Yes.
Hulu. It is fantastic. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I do love the movie, so I definitely would like to see the series. I just got
I'm gonna
well,
keep-
here it's called Star Plus, but it has the Hulu content, so I will finally get to see it. So yeah, I wouldn't be. It barely makes the mark for a legacy sequel because it came up 10 years ago. So just safe. But I wouldn't hate it, especially because now that like 10 years ago, the like regular life was so different that they could play a lot of different stuff in the new movie if you want to. Like I don't know, maybe but maybe not social distancing. That's it. But like Uber and all of that, they can play with a lot of current stuff. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would say yes to What We Do in the Shadows. What we still do in the shadows, something like that. I don't know what to call it.
But Richie, what do you say about What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, I really love What You Do in the Shadows. I think it's great. Yeah, honestly didn't think about it for this list just because, I forgot. Yeah, but it does count, and it's the 10-year sort of cutoff there. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of I was hoping for that sequel that we're probably never going to get that What We Do in the Moonlight with Rhys Darby's characters, but I'll be all for revisiting this world, so I'll say yes.
Yeah, and it only just counts, no more, because like it was 2014 when it came out, but so a little bit 3 months early, but it's long enough that. And I mean, it's one of those ones like it is sort of canon within the series because you do get cameos from Taika and Jermaine in their roles from the movie as well. So I think if they did it, you could easily bring both those rules together and have them both together. But yeah, What We Do in the Shadows is going to make the list, and I'm going to circle back around to Richie. What is your next nomination?
All right, cool. I'm going to bring out again. I'm going to bring out another slasher. I think the first one's well received, and then they had subsequent sequels that were just on direct DVD. And I'm like, that's kind of disappointing because I think it could have they could have done more with it. I'm going to go with Urban Legend. I think Urban Legend should be introduced more. I think it's got a great concept. How all the sort of and all the stream is cute today. Anyway, I think the it's got a good concept how all the sort of the subsequent deaths are based on like legends like sort of myths and I mean I don't know if you bring back any other of the initial cast. The only other cast I can think of is like Alicia Witt. I know she does acting and music these days. So
You've got Jared Leto.
Huh? Oh, Jared Leto. Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot that he was in that, but yeah, he was good. Jared Leto. So yeah, I just think because I think it was well received, and then there were sequels that came out and just but they were direct to DVD, and they're like, okay, it's like, did it not make enough money at the time, or what? I don't know. I remember being disappointed that they weren't theatrically released. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna Urban Legend.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I haven't seen, so I don't know too much about this. But I think it's one of those ones like because there's so many like urban legends out there that I think it's definitely going to sort of it makes sense because you can bring in some new urban legends as well, like such as Slender Man and stuff like that, which is all these sort of things which have been coming out as well. But just looking at the cast, like I didn't realize how stacked this cast actually was. Like aside from Jared Leto, you had like Tara Reid, like Michael Rosenbaum was there, Josh Jackson, Robert Englund once again was in this, and Brad Dourif. So I mean, um, I'm going to slightly say yes, even though I haven't seen this movie. It sounds interesting, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. But Kiri, what did your baby say about Urban Legend?
Yeah, Elliot says this was on his list. In seriousness, it was on my list to bring back. I think it would be cool to update this movie. And there's always new urban legends. Like I think it would be cool to cover different ones. To me, it's a cool concept. Like the movie Urban Legends to me almost feels like a movie length like episode of Supernatural with like a bunch of urban legends like kind of tagged in. And I don't know, to me that's something we don't see as much today, I guess. So yeah, I'd be down for a new Urban Legends movie.
Chad, what do you say about Urban Legend?
Yeah, this is another kind of like in the same vein as like Kevin Williamson, kind of 90s horror. Yeah, I think this could be interesting. I mean, the new Scream requel was a hit. We said yes to, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I think Urban Legend could be interesting in bringing some of the characters back and doing a whole new style, like exactly what Carrie said and what Malcolm said about, there's a lot of different urban legends to cover that you could do. So I mean, it could end up being like a whole new kind of franchise if they can make some sort of like story out of it with the urban legends and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it could be interesting. So I'll give it a slight yes, sure.
And Eric, what do you say about Urban Legend?
Well, it already made it, so I don't mind. But it was also on my list. No shade about that. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Urban Legend wasn't run to the ground like as a franchise because there's a lot of ideas you can go for with many Urban Legends, and especially because now if you update it, like I don't think people like Gen Z really believes much in Urban Legends, so you can make fun of that as well. Like Urban Legends, who cares about that? You can also add the whole social media aspect to it, like they did in Talk to Me, which I really like what they did with that movie, with that aspect as well. Also, yeah, you can bring Alicia back, kill Jared Leto in the opening scene. I think Brad Dourif made it through the movie, so bring Brad Dourif as well. I don't think anyone spoilers to the movie, but Rebecca Gayheart made it as well by the end of the movie, so you can definitely bring her back. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I didn't notice that until recently. Like she's still working. Rebecca Gayheart is. So yeah, Urban Legend was going to be one of my pitches as well. So yeah, I would say yes to Urban Legend.
And Richie, I know you weren't here for these ones, but what would you have said about Shaun of the Dead and Freddy vs. Jason? You're muted, by the way.
Shaun of the Dead is interesting.
That really depends on
Shaun
the
of the
pitch. You have
Dead.
to hear the pitch.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead is I don't know about or maybe like Legacy Sequel of Shaun of the Dead. I could see that. I would definitely. I think revisiting that world. I'd say yes. And then what was the other one?
Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Versus Ash Williams as well. That's a pitch.
Oh, with Ash Williams, yeah. Like I thought maybe there was talk at one point that was going to happen. And I mean, yeah, I would have been cool. I thought, yeah, like that was my kind of like I thought that was gonna happen at some point too. Now I wouldn't mind that happening. So yeah, I would suggest to both of them.
But yeah, with that we've got 3 spots left, and we go back to Kerry. Kerry, what is your next nomination?
Okay. My next one is another one that's kind of been floated but has never actually happened. I think it could be really fun, and that's Gremlins 3. So I get a direct third in making it a trilogy. So I don't know if you would actually put like Gremlins 2 as like the movie 2 sequel. In that, if to actually list it out. But I know it's something that's been floated. I think it would be really fun. Like if it combines any of the elements from the first two, it would be a great time. I think you could still make it really meta, make fun of the fact that there's even going to be a Gremlins 3. There's so much they could do with it. Like, and even if it sucks, at least we still have the first two.
Chad, what do you say about Legacy sequel to Gremlins 2, the new batch?
Yeah, I mean, I love the first two, and I don't see why a third one wouldn't be really cool. So yeah, I think that sounds like really interesting. I feel like they can only go bigger, or either like or maybe just scale it back to how the first one was, or just do like a new Gremlins story, or like in a new place that hasn't really dealt with Gremlins before, and then the couple or whatever from the first, were they a couple from the first two, could show up, and they'll have the information about what did you feed them after midnight, kind of a deal. They can have like fun with that, and like time zones, and I don't know, they could do like whatever, and it could be really fun. But yeah, I would just love to see a return of Gremlins just in general. So I think a third movie in the franchise to make it a trilogy would be kind of cool, especially because Gremlins and Gremlins 2 are both very good and very different. That, if you could do something different with the third one, that could be really cool. So yeah, I say yes.
Eric, what do you say about Legacy sequel to Gremlins 2, the new batch?
Yeah, that was also on my list as well. I think Joe Dante's already retired, but he will be like the very best to bring that movie to life. Mainly because I don't like Joe Dante, especially has a very Looney Tunes thing with the Gremlins. So, and he also made the Looney Tunes back in action. So he knows how to make that little the little creepy stuff of the Gremlins like into really fun, but as well as the chaos that they bring with it. So I would say yes. I don't know if Phoebe Cates is still working, but the main guy, Zach Galligan, I think his name, is still working, so he could be brought back. Like I don't know if their kid will be the one to have new Gremlins, and that you can play up the whole generational aspect that he doesn't follow the rules of their parents and all of that, and they cause a whole mess. Like Gizmo is still in the movie, right? I haven't seen the second one. I have seen the first.
Yes,
So I think a really old Gizmo could be like they're still cute but older, and I don't know what else to bring to the pitch, but I would also say yes, the Gremlins to the new batch, the Gremlins 3, the newer batch.
But Richie, what do you say about Legacy sequel to Gremlins to the new batch?
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Even like a remake, I didn't think. I was surprised it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised too. But yeah, I would be all for this, especially if they go full meta with like they did with the new, like the new batch, because I think that's just a batshit crazy sequel. So if they kind of did the whole meta thing as well.
What's wrong?
Yeah. So I would definitely say yes.
Yeah, after doing some sort of research into sort of Gremlins 3 is like and yeah, like part of the reason why we haven't seen it is because Joe Dante just simply didn't have any interest in doing it. Like he had no interest in doing Gremlins 2 either. But when Warner Brothers offered him full creative control, he decided to make it so batshit crazy and just so out there. And people loved it. But it's just it's one of those ones like I could be down to see a sequel. Like you can maybe do another whole once again bring in better things like I don't know, bring have Steven Spielberg who produced it do a cameo or something, and just because like they who's going to make the list. Chad, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'm agonizing over this choice right now. I'm trying to figure out what would be a really good one. Shit. Let me do. I'll do Attack the Block. Let me do that one. Because I think I was between a few of them, but I think because of John Boyega's like kind of star power now, like that was his first movie. I think bringing him back with like a whole new cast of Londoners could be really cool, and we can actually we got a little bit of the lore of like these aliens that come to Earth and attack London. We could actually get like more of them and like a different kind of like species of alien kind of a deal. Maybe that wasn't it that they had up their sleeves. Could be cool. We could have like in maybe an Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish team up, because that it feels like Attack the Block inspired The World's End, and it would be really cool to see some sort of like near like apocalyptic kind of movie. I love John Boyega's like journey through the movie, and to see him come back and then have other like his kids or something like that like go through a similar situation could be really, really fun. And have Nick Frost return as well. So Attack the Block, but I don't know, Attack the City, whatever you want to call it. Attack the Block 2 could be really fun. So yeah, let's try that out. What do you guys think?
Eric, what do you say about Attack the Block?
So I haven't seen the Attack the Block, so I need to see that one. I heard good things about it. I didn't know what what it's about. I have a slight issue because I have my follow-up pitch is also alien invasion related, so I have it maybe. And also apparently Attack the Block 2 is already confirmed. It's just it has hit a block, as you will say, in the development. Like John Boyega has an interview. Let me look it up, the quote. So, like somebody asked him in a how do you say, in a like in the premiere of another movie, like they are cooking it, as they said. It's in the lab. He already talked with Joe Cornish a few weeks ago, so the follow-up news will come up later, as he will say. Yeah, it also has already a profile on Letterboxd. I'm not opposed to the idea. It also is also in the ballpark. That's 12 years ago that came up. I don't know if to vote yes, because it sounds like a fun idea, but also no, because it's already in the works. But many of the movies that we already talked about are already in the works, so I would say yes. But it sounds fun. I haven't seen this, so I cannot confirm if it's good, but I'm pretty sure it's good. I trust Chad with this one.
Check it out.
I mean, in addition to that, obviously there's been nothing more said since 2021, though. So who knows if anything's changed since then. But Richie, what do you say about Attack the Block?
Yeah, I haven't got around to watching the first one, but I've known it's like I know it was like a sort of cult classic. I know it's how like John Boyega kind of got on the map. They do know that sort of the elements that sort of inspired A World's End, which is a underrated Edgar Wright movie, by the way. It is. I'll say it here that is one of the it's my second favorite. According to a trilogy, I will I'll fight people on that. So I don't know. Like I guess I'm in a weird position because I haven't seen the first one, but like because it was beloved and like I think there's a market for it. I'd say yes. For that reason, yeah.
But yeah, I also haven't seen the first Attack the Block.
Man.
I believe it is coming. It's either dropped on Netflix for Australia and New Zealand or coming soon. So me and Rich will be able to see it sometime soon. Hope potentially. I'm pretty sure I saw that on Netflix in the upcoming thing at some stage. But yeah. It's. I'm gonna say no, just because I've got a few other ones that I do want to bring up first. If it gets back around to me. But yeah, Kerry, what do you say about Attack the Block first?
I'm gonna say yes to this one. I really like this movie, and I do think it lends itself really well to a sequel. And yeah, I think it's been long enough that at this point it would kind of be a legacy sequel, like Chad said, maybe involving the kids of the main characters of the original. And I would love to see the characters again, see where they are, and kind of get another good alien invasion movie out there.
But yeah, if that Attack Block is going to make the list, Eric, what is the next one you're going to bring up? We've got one spot left.
Yeah, so we're going to have to fight for this one, at least the rest of us. So I had a lot of pitches still left, but and some of them are a lot of fun. What I'm going to come up with, I will throw out the one that makes the most sense to me, the one that have a better market appeal, as they would say. As I already said, it's another alien invasion one, but it's a favorite of many people in the community. It's The Faculty. It needs to happen.
Oh man, I was ready to go no because I wanted to get mine on, but that was anyway.
Yeah, like that's the best one that I could. That's one of my main pitches. Like, I didn't want to. Well, I did wanted to waste my Freddy and Jason picks because they are all of my pitches were fun with that, and I still have a lot of movies left. But The Faculty is one that makes more sense to me. Like the whole cast is mostly relevant, especially like George Hartnett's back in the mainstream. Jordana Brewster is still working. Elijah Wood's still working. I don't remember the football player, but him probably is there. The same for Clea Duval.
The football player.
I don't remember the name of the character. The name of the actor. Sorry, let me check it out real quick. But it's. Like, I know there's only one that Sean how to see something.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of a different.
You can bring back Usher. Like, I still have a lot of like Usher's here. I didn't know he was acting. But yeah, I saw it for the first time like a month ago. It was a lot of fun. I know why a lot of people love it, and like the whole it's a great premise for the first movie. It is like the high school is being taken over. The faculty, as the title implies, is the teachers are the bad guys here, and it's a lot of fun it will be a lot of fun to bring it back with a new like stack cast, because the faculty has a stack cast, and you can bring it. You can bring a lot of new teachers back. You can bring like the relatives or the children of the original characters. It's a 25-year-old movie by now, so they could have kids in high school. You could have. I don't know which character. The character must probably to be still working there. Probably be Elijah Wood, like as art teacher, or photography teacher, or something like that. Or Josh Hartnett as a science teacher. And I could think they could come back. Some of them could still. Like the new alien invasion can take over some of them, and some of the others help the new kids. You can make especially Clea Duval's character a lesbian, because she was supposed to be a lesbian. She should have been a lesbian. Like the whole ordeal is very 90s. The whole I'm just pretending to keep people over. But I would really love to see the faculty again, the Faculty 2 or whatever the title would be. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me to make a sequel for that. I don't know what you guys think.
But Richie, what do you say about the Faculty?
Yeah, it was like on my list, so I would say I'll just keep it short and sweet. So yeah.
I just watched this a couple of weeks ago when we were doing Robert Rodriguez movies. Finally, and yeah, it's such good. Like, don't know. I honestly don't know where a sequel could go. But it could be. I think it could be interesting, and like. And knowing Robert Rodriguez, he'll probably try to bring back like Alexa Vega and Del Cavara from Spy Kids and try and get Taylor Lawton back and bring them all back as teachers.
I was going to say, I forgot to say, this is the one that I think Christopher Landon could be the one to make this one. Like I know Robert Rodriguez made the original, but he hasn't done horror in a while, so maybe he's out of that aspect of. But especially because of the sci-fi aspect, and he works with a lot of young actors in his movies, and he is the one that like especially that type of sci-fi horror movie with teenagers. Like every time you see a new one of those, like Totally Killer or something like that, you immediately associate with Christopher Landon's brand. So it would make more sense for him to bring it back as well. Like he will be the one I would pick to make it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones. Like whoever directs it will be fine. Like as long as it keeps that kind of Robert Rodriguez feel to it though as well. But Kerry, what do you say? It's a yes for me for the faculty. But Kerry, what do you say about the faculty?
Yeah, I say yes to this one. I love that movie. I think it is definitely a cult classic at this point. It could be really successful as a legacy sequel. And yeah, most of the actors are still working in Hollywood. I think it would be really, really fun to get like kind of a 90s throwback to this.
And Chad, what did you have said about the faculty?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I mean, we do have a lot of Kevin Williamson on here, but you know, it's kind of like a proven formula, and it's different than just a random slasher kind of a deal, because it does have the body snatchers like element to it. So it's you don't know who's who, and your friend could be your enemy kind of a deal. And so yeah, I think that actually could be a really cool return for that thing, because it is a really cool movie. So yeah, for sure.
But with that does bring it into the list. Just to recap what's on the list, we've got Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, Aliens, Risk Family Nightmare, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Friday the 13th Part 6, Shaun of the Dead, Freddy vs. Jason, What We Do in the Shadows, Urban Legend, Gremlins 2, Attack the Block, and Faculty. Just double check that it is 12. Yes, it is. But Richie, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I got no pitch for this, but I just want to see the characters come back. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Ooh,
I thought about it as well. Yeah.
The Crow. I don't. Let's do away with the direct DVD sequels on Crow 2. So yeah, like those ones. Sleepaway Camp. That'd be fun. Yeah, Black Christmas, going to remakes. I want because so that things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I could think of for now. But I'm sure people bringing up other ones, where I'm like, oh yeah, that one would be all right as well. But yeah, those are the ones I think that come to mind.
Yeah, like for me, some of the ones that I had, I think Jennifer's Body could be interesting. With a legal sequel, see where they can go with that. The 1982's The Thing, I think could be really interesting to have a legal sequel. One that I'm pretty sure Austin might be on board with, Tremors. I know the direct-to-DVD sequels, once again, are guilty pleasures for some people. I'd like, honestly, having seen it for the first time this year, I'd like to see a full-on theatrical sequel to this and see how they could go with it. And talking about Sam Raimi, Drag Me to Hell, I think could be interesting to have a sequel. And also talking about Sam Raimi again, Army of Darkness, like a straight sequel, like fourth Evil Dead movie, I think could be interesting.
Just one that I thought of too. 28 Months Later.
Also on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, and another one that just came to my head is another movie that I watched for the first time this year. But I would have loved to see a sequel to the movie Teeth and see where they could have gone with that. But Gary, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I think in addition to the ones you and Richie mentioned, some of those were on my list too. I had Ginger Snaps, The Frighteners, potentially Jaws, that kind of ignores the sequels. Pumpkinhead, Wishmaster. I think it would be really fun to do a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 legacy
I was thinking
sequel.
that, but I didn't know if it would get over the line because it was silly.
I would vote for it. It's so fun. I think I've heard an interview with the main actors of the first two movies, and they might actually be down to make a new one. Yeah, you go ahead, Chad.
You have more.
Okay, I'll say my other ones real fast. The Descent, Sinister, Little Shop of Horrors, Nightmare Before Christmas, Reanimator, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
But yeah, Killer Clown.
Yeah, I will say they did do a pseudo sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas, but that was only a PS2 game. But I think there's going to be supposedly a sequel comic book coming out at some stage.
Oh.
But Chad, what do you say about what someone mentioned you had?
Yeah, like the other one that I was highly considering, other than Attack the Block, was Jennifer's Body, was one. But I was like, I don't really know how to pitch that one. I just kind of want to see it anyways. Just want to see Megan Fox return. But yeah, I also had Darkman, more Sam Raimi, Tales from the Hood. But then I didn't know who I would necessarily bring back. I just kind of want to see another one of those, with Jordan Peele at the helm of it. Your Next, the original The Exorcist, the Blair Witch Project, and then I also had Army of Darkness, The Cabin in the Woods, and then The Silence of the Lambs. Although that movie is kind of perfect, so I don't know about a sequel.
And Eric, what are some mentions that you had?
Yes, I thought about those movies, but some of them are too perfect or too linked to the director or something that I wouldn't make another one. But out of the ones that have been mentioned, like 28 months later, I thought about Jennifer's Body. I thought about Drag Me to Hell. I thought about, and then the ones that I really wanted, the one I really wanted to pitch, mostly because it would be hard work to do. It was Scary Movie, the Anna Faris one. I wanted to pitch a sequel from starting from the second one to keep that energy going. I really like what the Wayans do with that. And also there's a lack of horror parody going on. They could make fun of the horror legacy sequel aspect of this. Like you could put Anna Faris like super old, but she doesn't really look that old because she still looks super young. And parody some of the newer movies, especially now with elevated horror, as Tara would say in Scream, like it could play up the whole grief aspect, but in a funny way, and all those like really relevant themes that new horror movies play up. And then also Sinister, but I didn't bring up Sinister, but because the second one came up like 8 years ago, so wouldn't count. The Final Destination, but I thought that's already on the works. And That Becomes Her, the one with Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. Now that they are older, like you can mask up the fact that they are really broken now, like at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And even do a semi reunion with Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep. Like Anne Hathaway is the new one looking for the what do you say, the drink that makes them young, but they try to get them one as well. That could be a lot of fun, but. Yeah, that and Scary Movie were the ones that I really want to bring up, but like, yeah, the 12 spots it makes sense. Yeah,
Also,
I think to go with the faculty. Yeah.
Also, a horror comedy that I like. I don't know much people. I wouldn't. I don't know if there's much people clamoring for it, but I wouldn't mind seeing a legacy sequel to Idle Hands. Have you seen Idle Hands? I
haven't seen it, but I heard it's good.
Yeah. I was considering maybe bringing out Black Sheep, but once again, I don't think anyone other than me would be claiming the sequel to that. Brian, I did bring up as well, like, it had to be at least 10 years ago, because like if they did a sequel to Hubie Halloween, it really wouldn't be a legacy sequel. It would just be a sequel.
Oh yeah, it's kind of ineligible at this point.
But to add on to Eric's pitch for like Scary Movie in there, I think like another very obvious parody like that they could add in there is the fact that a lot of these legacy sequels are just going, oh yeah, let's just call it the same title as the exact same movie. Scream, Halloween. It's like, which one? But some movies that had brought up in the chat that no one else brought up. Brian brought up Child's Play.
Oh yeah.
And Stephen is pointing out the obvious that the Crow wouldn't be able to bring back the
No, I know that, Steven.
But then Brian also sort of said scary movie as well. But yeah, but now it's time to rank these. I know that because this is a hypothetical one, this is probably harder for most people to rank, but the way I would say is rank it in the vote for the order that you think it should be. But so, and obviously whichever one has most votes, it was like 12, 11, and all that. But Kerry, what do you have for number 12?
Okay. I know what you did last summer.
Chad, what do you have for 12?
I swear we didn't collude, but I wrote the same thing.
Eric, what do you have at 12?
I already have made my list by the time 12 pick came up, and I put Attack the Block on 12, mostly because I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Richie, what do you have?
Yeah, I'll have Attack the Block at 12 as well, just because of the same reason.
Which means it will be a two-way tie. I will reveal what I had, just because I don't know if it will necessarily work. From the Dead, but the tiebreak will fall on me because I was the only one that was different. And just because I haven't seen it, actually no, I'll go the other way, because just because it essentially is. It's somewhat in development. I'm gonna go with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because it's one of those ones like I don't like the way I try to do it. I'm not saying everyone should do it that way. It's like I always avoid voting for things I haven't seen because yeah, I'm in no position to judge it. But Chad, what do you have for 11?
I said Urban Legend.
Eric, what do you have for 11? You can keep.
I'll stick with Attack the Block.
Richie.
Yeah, I'm also sticking with Attack the Block.
I'm sticking with Shaun of the Dead. Gary.
Yeah, I'll go ahead with Attack the Block.
That Attack the Block is going to be at 11.
We Attack the Block, yay!
I see it.
Bless you.
But Eric, what do you have for 10?
I have for 10 Shaun of the Dead.
Richie.
That's Dream Warriors.
I put Shaun of the Dead. I mean, the noise isn't distracting me, but there is some noise in the background.
It's probably my webcam. It makes weird noises sometimes.
Yeah. It's fine. As I said, it's not distracting. But Kerry, what do you have?
I put Urban Legend.
And Chad.
I'll stick with Urban Legend.
So what did you say, Richie?
I said which is one of them.
Dream
Can't remember
Warrior.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said Dream Warriors, but they said Urban Legend.
Yeah, so we've got 2 votes to Shaun of the Dead, 2 votes to Urban Legend. Richie's the tiebreaker. Which one do you want?
I'll go just because I'm unsure how it works. How it work either. I'll go Shaun of the Dead.
Should have heard my pitch.
Especially with the vampire stuff, like at the vampires.
I'll blame Fern.
I mean, it's one of those ones.
I don't want to see it big, mostly because it's really the original is perfect. That's why I put it on 10.
It is.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. Like the movie itself actually feels like it what resolved the whole zombie thing at the end anyway. Richie, what do you have at 9?
This time I will go for. Yeah, I think Urban Legend's a good spot for 9.
I'm gonna go for Freddy versus Jason. Kiri.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Urban Legend.
Chad.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind Urban Legend in that spot, but I pretty much for the same reason as Shaun of the Dead, I put What We Do in the Shadows next.
Urban Legend is going to be at 9. Urban Legend is going to be at 9. I'm sticking with Freddy versus Jason. Kerry, what do you have for 8?
I'm gonna agree with you there. Freddy versus Jason.
Chad.
I said Dream Warriors.
Eric.
Stick with my guns. What We Do in the Shadows.
Richie.
I'm also going to go Dream Warriors.
So, Eric, Freddy versus Jason or Dream Warriors at number 8?
You're killing me. Those are very high on mine. Mostly because I have Dream Warriors higher than this one. I go Freddy vs. Jason. But I really want to see that one, especially animated.
But Kerry, what do you have for 7?
I'm gonna go Dream Warriors here.
Chad.
I changed it to the Faculty.
Eric.
I just wrote Shadows, but I know what you mean. What We Do in the Shadows.
Richie.
Yeah, I'll go Dream Warriors.
I also went with the Faculty. So, Eric, Faculty or Dream Warriors?
You're killing me. I gotta go Dream Warriors.
Oh.
Kind of want to see the Faculty more than Dream Warriors. Even if I like Dream Warriors more.
But Eric, what do you have for 6?
I'm gonna write something different this time. I mean, I could say it because I'm the only one writing with aliens.
Richie.
The Faculty.
The Faculty. Kerry.
The Faculty.
Chad.
Faculty.
Richie, what do you have at 5?
I'm going to go. Let's go Friday the 13th.
I'm actually going to go Aliens. Kerry.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go Aliens.
Chad.
God damn it.
Sorry.
I went Jason Lives.
Yeah.
And Eric.
Now, put again What We Do in the Shadows.
So it ends up in being a tie between Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, and Aliens.
Well, I gotta go Aliens. I wanted to get rid of Aliens a long time ago. No, I'm kidding. I did like that pitch.
Top 5 ain't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to recap, we've still got on the table. Still got New Nightmare. Still got Jason Lives. Still got What We Do in the Shadows. Still got Gremlins 2. And yeah, that's it. But I've got Jason Lives. Kiri,
Yep, Jason Lives.
Chad,
Jason Lives.
What Within the Shadows. I just wrote Shadows.
Richie,
Jason Lives.
and they've still got Stephen saying that he doesn't think it would work. But
I mean, the character of John Saxon is dead, so yeah.
yeah.
Take it back.
But I mean, as I said, like if they want to do a legacy sequel, but probably Elon doesn't want to come back, just get Jackie O'Hay to do it. Well, I mean, but Jason Lives had 3 votes. But right, anyway, I'm 6. Kiri, what do you have for 3?
I have What We Do in the Shadows.
Chad,
I also put Shadows for top 3.
Eric,
Yeah, now I wrote the whole title. What We Do in the Shadows.
Richie,
Yeah, Shadows.
I put Gremlins too, but what we do in Shadows is going to be 3. And now this time, instead of writing down our number 2s, we're going straight to number 1.
Oh, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Chad, what do you have for number 1?
For number 1, I wrote Gremlins 3. They're here.
Eric, what do you have for number 1?
I wrote New Nightmare.
Richie,
New Nightmare.
New Nightmare. Kiri.
I also had New Nightmare.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's tough. I think
I
that.
had my Gremlins too.
Yeah, I love New Nightmare as well. That was a great pitch.
Oh my god.
I liked him as Freddy. But
Maybe
anyway, our top 12 movies we think should get a legacy sequel. At 12, we've got I Know What You Did Last Summer. At 11, we've got Attack the Block. At 10, we got Shaun of the Dead. At 9, we got Urban Legend. At 8, we got Freddy vs. Jason. At 7, we got Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. At 6, we got Faculty. At 5, we got Aliens. At 4, we got Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. At 3, we got What We Do in the Shadows. At 2, we got Gremlins 2, The New Batch. And number 1, we got Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That is the end of Rankin for this week. Next week on Rankin, someone check on JPO because I know he's busy playing trivia over on the movie here. But next week is going to be finally top 12 Bob Schneider movies.
And you can thank me for that because it was at a certain point, and I'm like, okay, I'll get over the edge, and
it eventually won the poll after his assistants have been putting it on but yeah, so that'll be the episode next week. Kiri, where can people find you online?
Chad and I have a show with Hunter Chambliss on his network, the Nerd Entertainment Network, called Welcome to Primetime, where we discuss all things horror. That's mostly where you can find me. I think I actually have a match upcoming in the Why We Love Horror Trivia League. So that'll be coming out probably like, oh, you know what? Actually, I think those are filmed and released live. So that should maybe be in a couple weeks from now.
Chad, where can people find you online?
Yeah. Also on Welcome to Primetime, we do Buffy the Vampire Slayer rankings. We did a recent one. We're in season 5 right now. We're also doing a lot of brackets to find out what's the greatest horror movie ever made, going through the decades. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. But also check out my channel, Chadwick Webb, where we rank things. Carrie and I have been doing reviews based on our 61 Days of Halloween. I've also just been trying to do reviews myself, reaction videos. I know me and Tato at some point are going to be reacting to Good Burger 2, because that's a lot of fun, right? Also check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network, where we have a show called Picture This. Malcolm's been on it. Carrie's going to be on it soon. And basically what we do is we watch every Best Picture nominee that's ever been nominated. So that's a lot of fun. Check that out. We have a good time. And then check out my letterbox, and then my blog is cleareyesfullheartreviews.wordpress.com. As always, rank 'em is so much fun, and thanks for having me.
And Stephen, I think he's got about 12 good movies in his filmography. Not all of his movies are bad.
He's talking about Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you don't like What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously Stephen hasn't seen the episode where I got a panel and we brought up Guilty Pleasures. But yeah, we can be find you online.
I mean, I do like 50 First Dates. He appears briefly in that. I was super busy this week with trivia, so you can find me like tomorrow in the Dill Pickle Movie Network. Our match with Brian Nussbaum and Maria Hammond is coming up. The MCU tournament that they are doing. I was in a couple drafts in either a show about trivia with JPO or at the Movie Hero Network. We drafted the best horror movies ever yesterday with 30 picks each. And I think at Henry's we did horror comedies draft as well, and with JPO we did with JPO was horror comedies, with Henry was horror sequels. That's what I meant. And I played in the Friday the 13th exhibition match on Friday 13 at the Why We Love Horror Trivia channel with John Marr. Also, I played Why We Love Horror Trivia against Bill Carriola in a pretty good match. And also the one you should really check out, all of those check out because they were fun. I had a lot of fun playing with those guys, especially the tag team match I had with Jacob Cameron and the Skeleton Crew versus Sandy Tato. It was a lot of fun. It's a great match. You should check that out. And check out everything that they do here at Take 3. Thanks for having me. It's my first time here, and I had a lot of fun. So invite me every time there's sequel pitches and all of that. I love doing pitches.
I will say the topics aren't always pitches, but Richie, where can people find you online?
Yeah, I've been away for a bit because I've been on holiday, but I'll getting back in the swing of things. You can find me on the Movie Hero Network doing tournament fights, tier ranker. You can find me on the network too doing wrestling podcasts on the Amongst with Jacob Barber, JPO, and Austin Pesal. I think that this week we'll be going on Wednesday doing our matches from our 2000 draft coming up with a fantasy card that they drafted for me because they couldn't be available. So that's be interesting. And hopefully they gave me some good picks. And also reviewing a old episode of ECW on sci-fi. So it should be fun. And yeah, I was meant to be on that horror draft, but I fell asleep. So thank you, Eric, for taking my place. But yeah, you can find me on the other spaces too. I'll have more trivia coming up in the in the future. So yeah, just coming around, and yeah, just watch out for all these pics with my new dog. She's already gets there. Yeah.
But you can find me on Tape Productions. I host Rankum every Sunday. Next week we're doing Top 12 Rob Schneider movies. And you can also find me hosting our own like monthly tournament called Bracketeers. We did the part 2 of movies that appeared the most on Rankum last night. We'll be doing the championship next month probably. You can also find me hosting Full Metal Singles over on Full Metal, and the match that's dropping this week is Russell Howell versus Sam Wilson. So you got that happening, and but that is it for today. As I find a clip to go out on. Sure. What?
And we have one chance to save this planet.